want to talk also about New South Wales. The New South Wales is going to fire up their desalination plant. You know, the $1 billion thing that essentially was going rusty for a while? Well, because, among other things, lefties won't let them increase the height of Warragamba Dam, the main source of holding water for the biggest city in the country. They're now thinking about increasing the size of the thing that turns seawater into drinking water. Craig, this is kind of in your part of the world. How do you feel about the state government ramping up what has been, to this point, a very little used piece of very expensive technology?
Firstly, Paul, we in Sydney do not need a desalination plant. The climate has not changed. If you look at the rainfall records across Sydney going back to the 1840s, the peer-reviewed research, the climate and the rainfall has not changed. So the idea that this has something to do with climate change is ridiculous. What it has to do with that we're greatly increasing the population of Sydney and we're not building any more dams. So if we want to continue to go down the track of increasing our population of Sydney, you've got to build more dams. You've got to increase the size of the existing dams. Going down the path of desalination plants in a temperate climate like Sydney is just complete and utter madness.
Well, how do you feel, Campbell, again, where this is a Liberal government who have got the opportunity to take on a fight, increase the height of a dam, so when it starts raining again, they'll be able to collect more water? Or do you just increase the fake machine that will turn seawater into drinking water?
Well, Paul, several years ago when I was Premier and I was at COAG, I told a group of disbelieving fellow premiers and first ministers of states and territories that this World Heritage stuff was coming to really stuff them around, and here it is in New South Wales. Why isn't there a fight about this? Why isn't there huge pushback both from the New South Wales state government and the federal government against these foreign busybodies who want to actually compromise the future of our largest city? And that's critically important. By the way, I do know a few things about this as well, and it goes back to this climate change thing. 30 plus years ago, when I was a young engineer in the Army, I went to a presentation about the planning for Warragamba Dam, and they'd done core drilling across those black soil plains between Parramatta and Penrith. And you know what? In the last 5,000 years, there have been a number of cataclysmic floods out there, which, if they happened today, would cover the rooftops of the houses. So they need flood mitigation and they need water storage for the population.
You're crazy. It's crazy.
Imagine if floods like that happened tomorrow. I mean, we'd hear all about climate change, wouldn't we?
Correct.
But they've happened before.
Correct, because it just fits into that pot. Darren, you get the final say on this about what seems to be the very expensive solution to what should be the expensive solution to increasing what we already have in dam capacity for a city that, by everyone's admission, is only going to get massiver. Not bigger, massiver.
No, I agree. Look, as someone who moved from Victoria to New South Wales, specifically Sydney, sort of 20 years ago or thereabouts, that the amount of water that flows down drains and into the sea was pretty confronting. The drains are much higher, and I'm sure Brisbane is a different story again. But we don't make any effort to reuse grey water and rainwater when it falls, and that has always, to me, been the part of infrastructure in Sydney that no one seems to want to touch, and that maybe that's something that we should be focusing on. I've got no problem if they want to increase the size of Warragamba Dam, that's fine. Desalination is a pretty expensive and energy-intensive way to provide drinking water for an increasing city, an increasing population of a city, that I just think there's so much goes to waste that we really need to have a proper look at, and that's the bit, to me, that's the missing part of the jigsaw.